Hello again everyone, welcome back to ptet.chemistry channel. So in this tutorial video, I'll go through this combined science work for atomic structure. So atomic structure is a core topic that is the same stuff that the pure chemistry students are actually learning for the 5070. Anyway, so we need to complete this following table. So another name for proton number is atomic number. Another name for atomic number is proton number. So you have to know that they have the same definition. That is the number of protons in the nucleus of an atom as stated in the syllabus, which Cambridge say candidates should be able to do exactly. Alright. So mass number has another name called nucleon number. Nucleon number has another name called mass number. But be careful that whatever is given in your periodic table is what they call relative atomic mass, as I mentioned repeatedly in my previous lecture tutorial as well as in lessons. Relative atomic mass might be equal to nucleon and mass number, but they are not the same thing. Okay, in the periodic table, you're given the opposite way around compared to what you will write for example like this. This one will be magnesium 12, magnesium with a number 12 at the bottom there. This represents proton number because this is written to the far left. This is the international standard. This is the nuclide notation and not the way from your periodic table where the number 12 is in the middle on the very top. You need to be aware of this notation and their positions and what these numbers actually represent. The number at the bottom is the proton or the atomic number. The number at the top is what you call mass number or nucleon number because this is the nuclide notation. This is not the periodic table notation. So the mass number and the nucleon number, given that there are 12 neutrons, alright, so we know there are 12 protons because this in the nuclide notation, that tells you the proton number or the atomic number. So protons and the neutrons are what you call nucleons. Nucleons are not neutrons. Nucleons refer to the protons and the neutrons in the nucleus of an atom. So nucleon number is the number of protons and the number of neutrons in the nucleus of an atom. So 12 proton plus the 12 neutron, I will get 24 nucleons. Altogether, I've got 24 subatomic particles in the nucleus of an atom. Each of these is an atom. So for an atom is uncharged. So the number of protons which are positively charged equal to number of electrons which are negatively charged. Identity of a proton is defined by the number of, identity of an element in the periodic table is defined by the number of protons. If you have 12 protons, that means you have magnesium. If you have magnesium, that means you have 12 protons. Because you are atom, if you have 12 protons, then you must have 12 electrons. Next up, chlorine. So chlorine here, the mass number is 35. In your periodic table, you get 35.5 because 35.5 is not necessarily the same as mass number. 35.5 from your periodic table is what they call relative atomic mass, but in the international standard when you write it, because this is 35, so the way you will write it will be chlorine is element number 17, so the number of proton will be 17 on the bottom left. The number of nucleon, which is the number of protons and neutrons in the nucleus of an atom, there's the nucleon number, 35 on the top left. Okay, it's not 35.5 because they tell you there's 35 nucleon in the nucleus of this particular atom. So this is not 35.5, this is mass number or nucleon number. Proton number is 17 because it's element number 17 in the periodic table. So there are 17 protons. There must be 17 electrons because number of protons equal to number of electrons. For the positive charge, 17 of the positive charge plus 17 must cancel out by minus 1 times 17 give you minus 17. The number of neutrons is going to be determined by the nucleon number, which is the number of proton plus the neutrons. Take away the number of proton. That is going to be 35 minus 17. Put it into your calculator and you get 18 neutron. Next one, iron is element number 26. So there's 26 electrons for the atom because the atoms are uncharged. So number of proton is given by proton number. There's 26. Number of neutron is nucleon number. or mass number minus the proton number. So 56 minus 26 is 30. Strontium is a group 2. You can find it in group 2. You should know the Roman numeral. Group 2 means vertically is the second group. 38 electrons, and therefore you should be able to tell it's 38 proton as well. You can find its element number 28, group 2. Strontium is Sr, so it's 38. Now they tell us there are 50 neutrons. Do we know how many proton there are? Yes, we do, because we have proton number. So nuclear number is going to be 38 plus 50, not from your periodic table, because your periodic table tell you relative atomic mass. This one you calculate from the information given. So there's 88. So I can put that information in, and this is my international standard, which is nuclide notation. Return to the far left, proton number at the bottom, nuclear number on top. Okay, question 2, element P has atomic number 18. Atomic number 18 means is the number of protons, therefore 18 electrons, therefore 7 electrons, therefore 12 electrons, therefore 19 electrons, because atomic number tells you the number of protons. And then for atoms, which are uncharged, atoms are uncharged, and if atoms are uncharged, the number of proton must be equal to number of electrons. Please don't use hashtag, okay? When you do explanation, you should use proper word, number of electrons, number of protons. They are equal if you have the element which exists as atoms, all right? As in they only have one type of atoms. So when you have 18 electron, we've covered this in class, okay? Look at element number 18, okay? That is going to be argon. Alright, so you can see argon fill up the third period, the third row of the periodic table. The first row is hydrogen to helium. The second row is lithium all the way to neon, so it's completely filled. But then you need to start on a new row because now you're at neon, then you move on to the third row. You start from sodium all the way to argon. First shell, second shell, third shell. First shell, 2 electron maximum. Second shell, electron maximum. Third shell, it fills up to 8 for argon. Okay, 2 plus 8 is 10, 10 plus 8 is 18. It fills up to the third shell. There's the third row. There's period number 3, first, second, and third. Okay, there are 8 electrons in the third and outermost shell. There are 8 electrons in the third, 1, 2, 3, the third and the outermost, because it's the furthest away from the nucleus. There are 8 electrons in the outermost shell. You are in group 8. Group 8. The group number tells you how many electrons are there in the outermost shell, or how many valence electrons there are. This is atomic number 7. So 7 electrons is going to be 2 and then 5. So this is a group 5, not group 7, because you fill 2 electrons in the first shell, 5 electrons in the second shell. It's not completely filled. Okay, this is group 5. You fill up to second shell, so period 2, group 5. Look for this element, it's nitrogen. Okay, element 12 is magnesium. So 12 electrons, so it's going to be 2 plus 8 and then 2, because magnesium is in group 2. Magnesium is in group 2, is also in period 3. First period, second period, third period. Third period, which is the outermost shell. The outermost shell has 2 electrons, group 2. Group number tells you how many outermost shell electrons there are. Period number tells you first shell, second shell, third shell. It fill up to 3 shell. Okay. Element number 19 is potassium. So potassium has 19 electrons. If you look at position of potassium in the periodic table, start from hydrogen, and you know that this is period 4, the fourth row in the periodic table, and this is group 1. So it's going to be 2, 8. You play your snake ladder, hydrogen to helium, lithium to neon. Have a periodic table in front of you. You should know the first 20 elements as expected from the syllabus. All right. And then sodium to argon is 8 and then 1. 2 plus 8 is 10, plus 8 is 18, plus 1 is 19. 19 electrons in an atom for this element S, okay? Because for atoms which are uncharged, number of protons equal to number of electrons. First 20 element is a must for everyone doing chemistry essentially. Okay, so you got to know them even though you're given the periodic table, so that you know where to find them. Hydrogen only occupy the first shell, only one electron in the first shell, so it's just one. Nitrogen is period 2, second row of the periodic table, is also in group 5, the Roman numeral on top of the element. Okay, it tells you how many outer shell electrons there are. So 2 and 5, because there are 7 protons. Atomic number is 7 from the periodic table, so 7 proton. Number of electrons is also 7, because for an atom, number of protons equal to number of electrons, because the charge, positive charge of proton, is balanced out by negative charge of electrons. So drawing the first shell, 2 electrons. Drawing the second shell, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 2 electrons in the first shell, 5 electrons in the outermost shell. Fill up to 2 shells because period 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 electrons in the valence shell because it's in group 5. Group 5 Roman numeral. Magnesium is in period 3. It's group 2. It's 2, 8, 2. Have a look in your periodic table. Your first row go from hydrogen to helium. Lithium all the way to neon is 8 elements, so 8 electrons. Sodium, magnesium, 2 elements. So you have magnesium, 1, 2 in the first shell. Second shell has 8 electrons, 2, 4, 6, 8. And then 2 electrons in the outermost shell. 2 electron first shell, 8 electrons second shell, 2 electrons in the third shell. First shell, second shell, third shell, fill up to period 3. 1, 2, 3. Group 2, 2 electron in the outermost shell. Innermost, first shell, 2 electron maximum. Second shell, 8 electron maximum. Third shell can up to 8 electrons, but it only fills up to 2 because it's in group 2, only 2 outer shell electrons. I'll leave this one for you as an exercise. Alright, so you really need to do them. They are part of your notes. I hope you can see. I'll just do one set for you. So for example, group 1, you have hydrogen. On the very top is 1 electron. So this is period 1. This is group 1. So 1 outer shell electrons. Period 1, fill up the first shell. Period 2, so things like lithium. 2 electrons in the first shell because hydrogen and helium, and then 1 electrons in the second shell. So your electronic configuration will be 2, 1. Period 3, hope you can see that you have relationship now. So Na, 2 electrons in the first shell, and then you go from lithium all the way to neon is 8 electrons, and then you ran out of space to fill, so you will fill in the third shell. Try my best to draw the best circle I can. So 1. So 2 electrons fill out the first shell, 8 electrons fill out the second shell, 1 electron in the third shell. So that's 2, 8, 1. Total number of electrons is 1. Proton number is 1. Total number of electron here is 3. Proton number of lithium is 3. Atomic number is also known as proton number, given in the periodic table for free. Proton number of sodium is 11. So for the atom, 11 protons must have 11 electrons for the charge to cancel out. 2 plus 8 plus 1, 11 electrons altogether. Period 1, only fill first shell. Period 2, fill up to first shell, second shell. Period 3, first shell, second shell, third shell. Okay. Group 1, group number tells you how many outer shell electrons you have, how many valence electrons you have. 1 electron in the outermost shell. 1 electron in the outermost shell. 1 electron in the outermost shell. I have interchangeably used this term called outermost, but outermost refer to valence. So when you refer to outermost shell, you can also say valence shell, but be very careful when you say outermost electron. Outermost shell electrons refer to valence electrons, because this is electrons. Electrons orbit outside the nucleus in shells. That is the very first statement. The very first statement in the syllabus. Candidates should be able to describe structure of an atom. nucleus containing nucleus in the middle of the atom containing protons and neutrons, and then the electrons orbit around in shells. Okay, so that's it for this tutorial video. I have not completed this work for you. You can complete it on your own with the drawing, okay, as well as the electronic configuration, and see the trend of group number telling you the number of outermost shell electrons or the number of valence electron, and the period number tells you how many shells are being filled up to. Okay, so that's it for this tutorial video, and I'll see you in the next video. If you got questions, as usual, ask straight away, or when you see me, just grab me and ask straight away rather than waiting until the following week. Okay, so thank you for watching.